Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, let's see if other people would join. Let me see the participants tonight. Okay, I'll give it one more minute. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes,
Okay,
I can hear.
thank
Yeah, we
you.
can. Yeah.
Thank you. Oops, wait. Okay, one more minute. Okay, so good evening, everyone, and I hope everyone is doing well. I'm glad to see familiar names in our participants list and a couple of new ones too, I guess, like Maybell Langbayan. This is your first time to join, and Gelisa Prestoza, unless you joined Kevin's and Frank's talk where I'm not around. But yeah, this is the first time I'm seeing you guys. So welcome. I'm glad you're here. I guess we can start. So we are the member supported Pure Land Buddhism group, and we do these readings of a story every Wednesday nights. We impart practical life lessons based on how we understood the story, and we also pass on Buddhist values that is associated with the story. And you can see in your screen, this is the book that we use. It's called Something You Forgot Along the Way by Buddhist author Kentetsu Takamori. And I'm Len, by the way, and with me is my friend Kevin. Say hi, Kevs.
Hi guys, my name's Kevin.
Yeah, so thank you. And he also gives talks like this uh, on Buddhism. Yeah, every Wednesdays too. We alternate, right? And then he gives talks on the basics on of Buddhism once a month or twice a month. Yeah, every Sundays. So yeah, I need two volunteers to read the story, the first half and the rest. Oh, sorry. Okay, can I have a volunteer to read?
I could start if you like.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, Cabs. Thank you.
Okay, count to 10 when angry, or you may find yourself weeping alone. A zoo hippopotamus became pregnant. Her keepers waited eagerly for the birth, but when the time came, to their great disappointment, the baby hippo was stillborn. In searching for the reason, they found that when the mother was transferred to a different room during her pregnancy, she had, for some reason, gone berserk with anger, and this episode had resulted in the death of the fetus. I remember being shocked on reading this account of needless tragedy in the newspaper. Anger, it seems, releases toxins into the system that can destroy physical health. The effects of anger on humans are just disastrous. One often hears accounts of street quarrels that turn into fights in which someone collapses in rage before ever landing a blow. And there is a famous story of an eminent priest who spent 40 years reciting the Lotus Sutra only for all the merit so painstakingly acquired to be lost in a moment's angry outburst.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. And could I have another volunteer to read the rest of the story?
I can.
Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah. When blood rushes to the head in a fit of anger, we may say and do things we would never dream of ordinarily, and as a result find ourselves standing alone in a charred wasteland, weeping bitter tears. But if in the moment of anger we take a second to think why we are outraged, what it is that so upsets us, our indignation often melts away. If you have been attacked even though you are in the right, there is no need to blame your attacker. Eventually, he is bound to come round and beg your forgiveness. No one is a match for the truth. If you discover that you are in error, then follow the proverb, it's never too late to mend. Take swift steps to correct the matter and improve yourself, to defend yourself furiously even though you are wrong in the height of folly. The aftermath of anger is dreary emptiness. So when you get angry, count to 10. And when someone else gets angry, steer clear of him or her. This is the wise counsel of ancients.
Okay, thank you, Gwen and Kevin. Thank you for reading. So our story starts with a pregnant zoo hippopotamus that went berserk with anger when she was transferred to a different room during her pregnancy. This caused her baby to be stillborn. The author says they were shocked on reading about this needless tragedy. So the anger of the hippopotamus resulted in this needless tragedy, a pointless or unnecessary misfortune or disaster. But I want to ask you guys, why was it pointless? Why do you think the author said that the death of the baby was a needless tragedy? You can type your answers in Skype, or why you think it's why the author said it was a needless tragedy. Okay, let's see. Okay, not for now. Okay, well, that's okay. We can just move on. So I think they said the author said that it was a needless tragedy because it could have been avoided so easily. Was it really necessary to move the pregnant hippo to another room? Um, okay, let's see. There, someone answered because it is a sacrifice. Ah, yes, it's a result of the anger of the hippopotamus, and because of that, it was a needless sacrifice, right? So it could have been easily avoided. When one can argue that maybe it was a life and death situation that they have to transfer the hippo to another room, but maybe running a zoo should at least require you to know the possible repercussions to the animals of whatever move you will do with them. There may be a lot of reasons for the move, but the point of the story is to show us how a moment of anger can lead to needless tragedy. Later on, we'll get to the likely consequences of our anger. Okay, so another example that was shown to us was that of a priest, right? Of the priest who recited the Lotus Sutra for 40 years, only for all his merit to be lost in a moment's outburst. So the Lotus Sutra is one of the many sutras Shakyamuni Buddha left us. It talks about how all living things, without exception, can be enlightened. So this priest lost all the points he gained for 40 years of reciting the Lotus Sutra over a moment's angry outburst. Just like how our relationship with people can easily get soured to when we cannot get a grip of our anger. And time and again, the topic of anger is one that attracts the interest of people. And why is this? It's because all of us gets angry, even those who we deem calm and composed, they get fits of angry outbursts too, right? All of us have been in that position where we want a foolproof technique to manage it, to manage our anger, but in reality there is no one size fits all. And besides, we can't be on our best behavior all the time. However, we can certainly try. and practice methods to minimize the frequency of the outbursts. It's those eruptions, the shouting, the raised voice, the thrown objects flying from across the room, the hurtful, careless words. Those are the ones that damages our relationship and image. Not first, let us identify first the reasons why we get angry. So, what makes you angry, guys? Or why do you get angry? If you want to share them, then type them in the Skype chat box. And but I will go ahead with what came up with. But please, if you want, share it with us the things that make you angry or the things that you know could make one angry. Because probably my list isn't that complete. And I will read your answers later. Let's see if you have. Okay. So, why do we get angry? Okay. So, the first one is it's because our pleasure or enjoyment is interrupted. So, one scenario is maybe when we were kids on a Saturday morning, we're lying on the sofa watching TV and currently enjoying our favorite cartoon show when suddenly we were asked by our mom to buy something from the store. And this makes us angry, right? Because our pleasure is interrupted. Or on a more serious tone, our daily life or our work is going really well. Then suddenly a pandemic happens, like what we have right now, and it derails every aspect of our life. This makes us angry because our convenience was interrupted. Okay. And then the second one is we always think we are right. When someone challenges our ideas, beliefs, or our intelligence, we get angry because these things define a part of us and we hold a strong conviction that these things are right. Okay? So we get angry when those are challenged. And third is our expectations were not met. This happens quite often in every place when we, for example, when we order food and see that it does not really look like what's on the menu, or when we look forward to seeing a clean house when we get home, only to find out that everything is a mess when we get there. So, everything that doesn't match what we have fashioned inside our heads or does not meet our expectations will make us angry. And then the fourth one is we assume. Um, this may seem similar to number three, expectations, but the difference is expectation is something that we wish for to happen, and usually it's something optimistic. And assumption is what we think will happen or what we think something is, and it's usually something a bit negative. So sometimes we assume someone is thinking a certain way just because their face looks a certain way, right? So good luck to those who have resting B faces. Or when someone doesn't respond to us immediately, maybe we may assume that they are ignoring us and we get angry because of that. And one reason too is medical conditions. So maybe in general, any medical condition that hampers with our ability to do things comfortably can make us angry. But I also searched online that there is a condition called intermittent explosive disorder, which can begin as early as childhood and is treated with medication and psychotherapy. So let's not be quick to judge when someone is angry. Maybe they have this medical condition. Excuse me. And the last one that I came up with is excessive stress. And of course, maybe we're just extremely tired physically, emotionally, and mentally. The right amount of stress is good because this motivates us to do things, and little of it makes one be referred to as lazy, right? So these are the six, but let me see what you wrote in Skype. Okay, so okay, Isabel said when someone triggers me, yeah. I mean, yeah, what kind of trigger? But I know, I understand what you mean. We do have a lot of triggers, like certain words, certain tone, right? And Sandy says, whenever I don't get the expected results or things as planned, yeah, when our expectations are not met. Kevin, when I don't get enough sleep, I easily get triggered. Same, same. And Anne, when I'm disappointed. Yes, when it's this the same when our expectations were not met, we get disappointed and then eventually we get angry. And sometimes whenever I see a particular person, okay, yeah, that's true, right? People there are people who just trigger us. And when I feel like my trust has been abused or taken for granted, said Ice. Oh, yeah, that's true. And this hurts when, especially because we give trust to people we are close with, friends, family, or someone we've trusted or we thought would value this trust. And yes, that makes us angry. Okay, thank you for your. Oh, there's more. Sorry. When someone asserts that what they want and doesn't even want to listen or even understand where you're coming from. We encounter a lot of people like this, right? Close-minded or not open to suggestions. Oh goodness, yeah, I've encountered a lot of that. And yeah, same here. And Kevin said when someone fails to fulfill their promise. Oh yeah, this is the same with when yeah our expectations are not met. Sometimes when you hide all your disappointments without being vocal and it piles up, then boom. Okay, yes, that's very important point, Gwen. This will come later when we talk about how we manage our anger, because there's the loud anger or the outburst, and there's the silent anger. That's the one that where we pent up everything, we hide everything inside, right? Okay, so okay, I'll continue. So thank you very much, guys, for your answer. Uh, these are all good points, and maybe there could be more, but we can work with what we got here for now. Ah, yes, yes, we will. And then it's always good to know why things happen and why it happens to us. Knowing the reasons for our anger will help us manage them better. But how about the effects of anger? So the silent anger, the loud angry outbursts, how does that affect us? What are the effects? And here are some of the possible effects of anger. Sorry, let me just silent my phone. It's distracting me. Okay, so I came up with two categories. First one is on the individual. So actually, we are the ones who, the angry person is the one who receives most of the effects and usually ill effects of anger. So, physical manifestations, and this may possibly include headache, breathing problem, skin problems, things like that. And then emotional and mental manifestation may possibly include depression, anxiety, and insomnia, and many others. And it also gives one a bad reputation, right? When people see us, when we're angry, especially the explosive anger one, people are so quick to judge that, oh, we're a bad person like that, without even knowing the reason why we got angry in the first place. No? So people have a tendency to be quick to judge. And then, second, on relationships. Um, Anger, regardless if it's the silent or the explosive kind, can bring unpleasantness to our relationship with others, and not until it's resolved, right? If it's not resolved, then it will continue bringing that unpleasantness. So more on this when we talk about on how we manage our anger. And I'm quite certain that there are other effects of anger out there, but I thought this is good already. But if you know if there are other effects, you can again share them in Skype. Now, we have an idea on why we get angry and how it affects us. And of course, we all want to know how we can manage our anger. I say manage, I don't say control, right? When we say control or suppress, rather, it usually refers to when someone says controlling anger or suppressing anger, that usually refers only to the loud kind, the outbursts. But anger can be silent too, right? So before going before we go to managing anger, let's see first what anger is. Okay, so what is anger? First, anger is a basic human emotion, just like fear, happiness, sadness, and so on. So controlling it or suppressing it would be short lived because you're bound to experience it again. It is unpleasant, right? We don't like being angry, but it is normal. So stop beating yourself up when you get angry. The best we could do is manage its outbursts because those outbursts are the ones that may lead to damaging consequences. Oh, dog. And anger is the opposite of patience. This is what is taught in Buddhism. And this is where the pause that we hear so often about when dealing with anger comes in. I'm sorry about the dog. And then anger is not aggression. Okay? Aggression can be an effect of anger, but it is not anger. Anger is an emotion. Aggression is behavior, and behavior is action. So it's how one acts in response to a stimulus. Okay, let's see someone type in. Yeah, me too. I have two dogs. Yeah, I love dogs too. I think a lot of people here love dogs too. And next is anger can be a good thing because it's a natural response to apparent threat, right? Um, Because of this, we can be motivated to find solutions to these perceived threats. Okay. And then lastly, anger is not a bad thing or is not itself a problem. It only becomes as such when it is excessive and when we mishandle it. So at this point, I want to answer Benedict's question in the messenger. Wait a second. Need to drink water. So to answer your question earlier, Benedict, if there are any forms of anger that is acceptable, and I would say all forms of anger brought about by any reason is acceptable. How we express and handle the anger is where the problem lies because some ways of expressing anger can be harmful to ourselves and others. No? So I would say any reason for anger is valid. It may not make sense for us. It may be petty for some of us or even repulsive for some of us at times. But since this can be a person's response for a possible threat for them, then we shouldn't rush to judgment and look down on one's reason for being angry. Okay, so speaking of dogs, for example, for many of us, being near a dog is okay. But for someone who has a traumatic experience with dogs, they may feel anger if they are near one. So, so yeah, that's. I hope that answers your question, Benedict. If there are forms of anger that are acceptable, I think all forms of anger are acceptable. It's the way you express it that matters. Is that okay?
Okay, thank you.
Is it clear? If something is not clear, then you could ask me. If then I'll explain. But does that answer your question?
Yes, it gives me an idea. I mean, I have to give it some more thought.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Then after you have given it some thought, then maybe you could share what you think. Okay. You could leave your message in the Skype chat box. Okay, so if anyone has a question, you could talk or type in Skype before I continue. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I just have a quick question.
yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
sorry. Yeah, because the way I was thinking about it is that, well, for me, anger comes mainly from the blocking of the fulfillment of a desire. So,
Mm,
frustration comes from when you're unable to fulfill certain desires, such as, you want more sleep, you're unable to get sleep, you want to
mm,
feel that you're correct, and if you're
mm,
proven wrong, therefore, it gives about frustration. And anger gives a sort of bad feeling, right? So, when you're angry, normally you don't feel good, right?
mm,
So in a sense, anger sort of leads to suffering in the sense that because you're angry, it leads to frustration, which therefore makes you suffer. And since anger is therefore, as we just talked about earlier, is an unavoidable feeling. It's part of being human.
yes,
So my conclusion is that since anger inevitably, and this is, correct me if my logic is incorrect already, since anger inevitably leads to suffering, like the baby dying in the hippopotamus,
mm,
therefore suffering in itself is inevitable because anger is inevitable. I mean, I agree, it is how you express it that matters because that affects everyone around you. But even if you don't express your anger, it's so tiring to be angry all the time, and
oh
it's so
yeah,
draining. And even if you don't express it, if you contain it, as you said, if you repress it, it feels horrible.
mm,
So then, given that logic that anger is an inevitable part of life, therefore suffering is then also an inevitable part of life, because desire is part of being human, which can lead
mm.
to anger and then logically suffering.
Mhm. Yes, you're right, Benedict. Suffering, like anger, is a part of life and it's inevitable. This is one of the teachings of Buddhism too. We cannot escape suffering. Besides, uh, you mentioned desire, right? Desire is pleasure when we give it to our pleasure. Pleasure is actually, what they call this, pain. Suffering is actually pleasure over time. You know, when the novelty wears off, when you're tired of it, eventually all the pleasure we're experiencing right now will lead to suffering. And it's how we what do you call this? It's how we deal with it, or how we manage it. Later, I will say something about anger that you could also apply to suffering. It's something that we practice in Buddhism. But yes, you're right with your observation that since anger is suffering, and suffering then is also an inevitable part of life. We cannot escape it. That's true. It's always there.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. That's a rather pessimistic sense of life, but I mean, I guess it's true.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So okay. Yeah. Yeah. But if you want, uh, because uh, if what do you call this? I'm trying to be careful because if we can't really delve deeper into it because it covers so much, but on the surface it's like that. You're right with your observation, but if you want to listen more about that, then maybe we can talk, or maybe you can talk to Frank. He knows more about that. He's our sensei. But yeah, but you're in the right track. Your understanding is right. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, and then Gwen says, I agree. Acknowledge it and find out why you're angry, how you react, handle it. Okay, yeah, that's right, Gwen. Okay, so let me just continue to the last part of the. Okay, because it's asking me to that we're running out of time, but this is what anger is and what it is not. So, how about managing it? For this, I came with a few guidelines on how we can manage anger. But I would like you guys to also share in the Skype chat, how do you deal with your anger? Because I came up with a couple of things here, but I'm pretty sure I missed something, and someone from our group could really could learn from it or could use whatever tip you could give. So okay, so first one is, of course, we hear this often, the pause. So doing the pause when we are angry really takes practice and a lot of effort, especially in a moment when we are overwhelmed with anger, when our anger is to the brim. All we want to do is express it, let it out. Um, but this is where we can practice our patience. We wait, and then we pause before we open our mouth. And by the time we speak, the overwhelming emotion would have subsided already. This is also this is also the reason why we always hear people say that we should count to 10 when angry. This delays the reaction, and the delay usually takes the edge off our anger. And then the second one is take slow, deep breaths. This is a way of pausing too. And just watching or following your breathing cycle, how it feels coming in and how it feels going out, and so on, is already a simple form of meditation. Okay, and then the third one is assess and express. Okay, for example, you have paused and calmed down a bit, then you can weigh the situation. At this point, you can think better and see the reason for your anger. And then, once you've calmed down, express what made you upset in the first place. Say it clearly and directly. Okay? Be assertive but not aggressive. If we suppress and hide what made us upset, then that wouldn't resolve anything. Besides, anger being a natural human emotion will always happen, and there would always be something that would make us angry, and we cannot get rid of them or avoid them. But we can control how we react to them. Okay? What we can do is to observe our anger but not participate in it. I hope that makes sense. It's like you're just an observer of your anger, but that takes practice, okay? But because usually when we're angry, it's impulsive, just like shopping, right? So yeah, observe your anger, but not participate in it. And then next one is walk or exercise. So walking, stretching, or any form of exercise will help us calm our nerves. It stimulates various brain chemicals that leaves us feeling better. And then divert attention. Do something that brings a lighter feeling to you, like listening to music you enjoy or watching a funny movie. And then talk to someone. If we can't confront the cause of our anger, we can talk to someone or a friend about it. This way, we don't linger in that situation that makes us angry. And also, someone else can offer us a different perspective about the situation. And then, seven is write it down. Okay. So, there are some things we just can't share with anyone. In fact, there are a lot of things in our head that we just can't tell anyone, and the things that makes us angry can be among those. So what we cannot say, we can write. This can help quiet down the angry feeling, and then can help you reevaluate the situation. And then, last one is seek professional help. So maybe you've tried all of this and more, but it still doesn't work. Then maybe it's time to go to a doctor. Don't be too conceited, don't be too proud or too ashamed. Know when you need to seek professional help. Sometimes it's what you need. Okay? So those are the eight I came up with. Actually, there's another one, but I'm not sure how legit it is. But I want to show you guys. I just saw this in, okay, this one. Do you like spicy food, guys? I love spicy food a lot. Like every day I eat spicy food. So it says here chili reduces anger levels. Chili boosts the production of serotonin. serotonin, feel good hormones. Thus, they help ease depression. Well, I don't know if it's true or how effective it is, but if you love spicy food, then maybe it's worth a try. Okay. So, yes, that's it for tonight, everyone. And I'm glad that you're here. It's a pleasure having you all here. And let's all make effort to practice patience so we can lessen the harmful effects of our anger. See you all in our next talks. Good night.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Les.
guys. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Good night.